Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra with me, Shail Bhatnagar, and this is Market Today. Well, the week, the all-important week that could potentially be a market-moving week, began with a high note. We did see the Nifty hitting an intraday high level of 25,445 in the trade yesterday. The Sensex also managed to close at a record high level as well. We've seen that the Nifty Bank has continued to turn out to be an outperformer. We've also seen several sectors perform in trade as of yesterday. Metals leading with sharp moves across the board as of yesterday as well. Now remains to be seen whether the markets will continue to be buoyant, because now is when the FOMC meeting will begin. All eyes across the world will be on that to really find out what could be the quantum of the rate cycle reversal, if one could be really looking at, and how could that be impacting the markets and the flows worldwide as well. Good morning to all our viewers and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome on this wonderful Tuesday that is upon us. So Sakshi, मंगलवार है तो मंगल ही होगा और आज मुंबई में विसर्जन है। गणेश जी हमारी सारी इच्छाएं, हमारी सारी उम्मीदें और हमारी सारी होप्स और एक्सपेक्टेशंस अपने साथ लेकर जा रहे हैं और उम्मीद करते हैं कि इन सब पर आपको एक अच्छी हरी झंडी आती हुई दिखेगी कुछ महीनों में। With those thoughts and those hopes, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin our conversation about the market. I'll request the PCR to please fire the daily chart of the Nifty, which we are so used to. So Sakshi, we are on Tuesday, and tomorrow is the all-important Wall Street event when a possible rate cut is about to happen. Mostly it will be 25 basis points. That's my gut feel. And as you've been talking about and we've been discussing it, that's penciled into prices. Now the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that the markets will now sort of remain sideways till the main event has happened. So it happens on Wednesday night in the US, and our impact will be on Thursday, which is the weekly expiry of the Nifty contracts. So please keep that in mind, and between then and now, because the markets are at a record high and because we are ahead of an event, the indices will consolidate. They may not go down, but they will definitely not rise. That is my hope and that is what I feel. Now, other important part is that we are at record highs on many indices, mainly the Nifty, FMCG, Pharma, to some extent even IT, as also mid cap, small cap and the broader 500. The only index that has not clicked so far is the Nifty Bank and the PSU Banking Index and the Metals Index, which are also doing good over the last 2 or 3 sessions, but these are the 3 that haven't hit record highs, and that is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, it just might be a time to book some partial profit that you've made over this so many weeks, so many months ahead of this event. We can always get back into the market if there is a major event, or again get back into it if the market leaps, but it is sensible to be very light ahead of the event on your trading book. And if you are making some phenomenal money, it is time to sort of move that money into the bank from the book that you have as far as markets are concerned. So that is one piece of advice that always works very well ahead of an event, and there is no use taking fresh positions now. Just wait out for the event to pan. Now there is an important day ahead, which is Tuesday, as we've talked about, and the listing of PN Gadgil Jewelers. Sakshi will give you the details in terms of size of issue and in terms of oversubscription, but keep an eye out on jewelry stocks for 2 reasons. Remember, they have run up very sharply ahead of this issue. Look, the likes of Titan, PC Jewelers, TBZ, Senco Gold, so many of them have gone up sharply, and you just might see profit booking after this IPO gets listed. This is similar to what has happened in the housing finance companies that we were tracking yesterday and all 2 weeks before around the Bajaj Housing Finance IPO. Bajaj Housing got listed at a sterling 114-115% premium, but you see profit booking in PNB Housing, LIC Housing GIC, so many others including Bajaj Finance. So please keep this in mind when you look at jewelry stocks today. You just might see profit booking despite another record high in gold futures around $25.80 an ounce. This is definitely headed for 2600. Keep an eye out on that. And of course, in the same breath, look at positively on gold financing companies. So Sakshi, this is from my side, but I believe there are some exciting developments in the world of brokerages, especially on Ola Electric and of course the recently listed Bajaj Housing. We'll discuss that a little later, but what are the cues that are coming in from Wall Street?
Of the Federal Reserve policy decision tomorrow that we will get, the US markets closed mixed. We did see the S&P 500 ending with gains in a subdued session, while the Nasdaq composite fell, dragged by a drop in the technology stocks as investors assess the likelihood of an upsized rate cut as well from the US Fed. The Dow Jones also closed about 0.5% higher in trade, followed by the S&P 500 that finished 0.1% higher. The Nasdaq lost about 0.5% in trade. US dollar index is at 100.68. We've also seen the 10-year bond yield at 3.62%. That's comfortable. Brent crude levels are slightly higher by 0.19% at $72.89 per barrel, and gold levels were flat at $25.82 an ounce as well. Following this, the Asian markets we've seen after a trading holiday in China, Japan and South Korea and Indonesia on Monday, the Asia Pacific market started on a mixed note. We've seen the Australian index gaining about 0.2%, Nikkei down by about 1.3% now. However, Kospi and Hang Seng were higher, with Hang Seng about 0.5% up in trade, the SSE Composite about 0.5% lower in trade. The GIFT Nifty is actually indicating a flattish start to the Indian markets at 25,490 odd levels from the last count, but definitely higher than the closing that we saw for the markets yesterday. So we could be looking at an above 25,400 kind of a start for the Indian markets as well. And of course, remains to be seen, even if we opened with sharp bounce in the beginning, will that be sustained throughout the course of the trading session? Overseas investors, they turned net sellers of the Indian equity markets after 5 sessions of buying that we saw. Foreign portfolio investors offloaded worth about 1635 odd crore rupees in trade as of yesterday. The domestic institutional investors stayed net buyers for the second consecutive session, and they purchased equities worth about 754 odd crore rupees worth of shares in the Indian markets. Like you pointed out, there are several stocks that one should be really looking at. PN Gadgil Jewellers will be the first one that we will track at 10 a.m. Once the debut happens. Remember, after stellar listing of Bajaj Housing Finance, this is the other one that everybody is being looking at. Remember, it's an 1100 crore rupees issue. And it saw a sharp oversubscription of nearly 60 odd times as well. So we'll have to see, especially the QIB portion got the maximum subscriptions in PN Gadgil. So we'll have to see how the listing really happens. The grey market premium is already indicating an over 60% kind of a premium listing. Now we'll also keep an eye out on TVS Motors. The company has introduced a refreshed Apache RR 310, now starting at 2.75 lakh rupees, up about 3,000 rupees from the earlier price that it was at. First Source Solutions will be in focus. The company has announced a collaboration with Microsoft Azure OpenAI for digital transformation offerings. Globus Spirits will be in focus. The company has launched its first single malt whiskey under the brand DOAAB India Craft Whiskey, marking its entry into the luxury segment of the growing whiskey market in India. Torrent Power will be in focus. The company has entered an MOU with the Gujarat government for an execution of a 5 gigawatt solar wind and solar wind hybrid project at Dwarka district in Gujarat. Carborundum Universal will be in focus. The company will be acquiring US-based silicon carbide products for about 56 crore rupees. Indocount Industries will be in focus. Its US-based subsidiary has acquired 81% stake in Fluitex USA by signing a stock purchase agreement for $19.6 million. The company also holds exclusive option to purchase the remaining 19% for about $4.6 million within the next 5 years. M&M will be in focus. It's launched the Vero small commercial vehicle. aiming to capture under the 3.5 ton SCV market. The Vero is priced at 7.8 lakhs and 7.99 lakhs for the entry level model, and it is also built on the new Urban Prosper platform, and it offers diesel and CNG variants. Electric version is planned for the future as well, and with this it wants to expand its light commercial vehicle portfolio by launching 7 new models by 2030 as well. LIC will be in focus. The company has partnered with Infosys to develop a next generation digital platform as part of its digital innovation and value enhancement strategy. The platform will support the high value business applications and enhance the insurer's digital infrastructure as well. So those are some of the stocks that we are keenly watching out for, Shail.
Right, Sakshi, and getting back to DOAAB, the launch of the first Indian single malt. That's actually Doab, the land between 2 rivers in Uttar Pradesh, Ganga and Jamuna. And of course, it's the most fertile piece of agricultural land in India, and the water is the absolute sweetest. So when you use that kind of water for your single malt, I'm sure the results are fantastic, and therefore the name of the brand, which is Doab. So let's see how it pans out. I'm sure you will not taste it, but I will give you my how should I say the correct feedback maybe on Monday once the weekend is through. We'll very shortly be joined by Mr. Gaurav Dua, Head of Capital Market Strategy at Sher Khan, and Mr. Osho Krishnan, Senior Research Analyst for Technicals and Derivatives at Angel One. But Sakshi, very quickly, 2 major reports coming in from brokerages: an upgrade on Bajaj Finance that was listed yesterday, and Ola Electric. What are they?
Sure. So first we'll talk about Bajaj Housing Finance, the newest entrant on the D Street. Phillip Capital has initiated a buy with a target price of 210. It talks about how the company addresses 65% of the home loan originations in India, and how it is increasingly focused on lease rental discounting, which is a high yield segment that provides operating leverage with scale as well. Remember, yesterday was the debut of Bajaj Housing Finance, and after opening at about 120% premium, it went up higher, hit a circuit on day 1, and is at 165 rupees as well. And with this new initiation coming in with higher targets, you could actually see the stock moving up for the second day in a row after its debut. Ola Electric, the recently listed IPO about 1.5 months back, there is a report by Goldman Sachs which has initiated buy. The target price of 160 on Ola Electric. That also goes beyond the maximum price that Ola Electric has thus far hit after its listing. Remember, they say that they expect FY24 to FY30 estimated revenue growth of 40% CAGR, implying the free cash flow break even excluding the subsidiaries by FY30 estimated as well. They also believe that the company is expected to achieve 11.9% EBITDA margin by FY30 estimated as well. So those are the kind of details that are coming in for those 2 important reports, Shail.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so keep an eye out on Bajaj Housing. Sakshi and I had discussed this post markets close. Yesterday was a blowout performance. 9,950, 86 crores worth of transactions happened on the first day. A lot of them converted into delivery. I'll just get that number for you. And of course, it was at circuit after listing at 114% premium to its issue price of 60. It will be very, very interesting to watch the first 2 minutes. Let's see whether you see a circuit or not. But as good a time as any to welcome Mr. Gaurav Dua, Head of Capital Market Strategy at Sher Khan. Namaste, Gaurav ji. A very warm welcome to you, sir, on Visarjan Day in Mumbai, and of course such a fantastic rally that we are seeing on Dalal Street. How do you comprehend this move that came beyond 24,900 to 25,400 now on Nifty, and where do you see it headed?
Very, very good morning to you and Mr. Sakshi ji. Market has shown in great this momentum. It's been climbing all the this wall of worries. A lot of people who have been on the sidelines with cash, as I can see, they're getting this frustrated. There is kind of FOMO this thing all around. And what has happened in the market, if you see, there is a very good sector wise rotation. So whenever there is some kind of fatigue with the existing this market leaders, you see some new stocks which start to do well. And from here, what we see is that because of the expected interest rate cut in US, which is likely to be followed by interest rate cut by RBI sometime in the end of this year, I think that the interest rate sensitives are going to take the lead from here. Banks which have been underperforming, especially the private sector banks and SBI, I think they are going to lead the rally. I also believe that the reality stocks could also bounce back from here.
Very good morning to you, Gaurav ji. Good to have you with us. All eyes on the US Fed and how the rate cuts will be panning out. How are you really looking at this scenario unfold in terms of the impact that could be on the Indian markets, and how should retail investors be positioned ahead of the rate cut? Would you be able to also tell us what is your own expectation this time around?
So, it was about a week or so back, was very clear that, US Fed will come out with a 25 basis point kind of cut. But what has happened, unfortunately, that the expectations in last few days have gone up. So what I believe that even if US Fed comes out with a 25 basis point kind of cut, markets are not going to be happy, because markets are somewhere now building in a 50 basis point kind of a cut. Now, if that happens, I think if there is a knee-jerk fall in the equity markets across the world, it will be an opportunity to buy. On the other hand, if suppose US Fed comes out with a 50 basis point kind of a cut, then we are going to see a very strong upsurge across the markets, and there I think it will be an opportunity for the short-term guys to actually sell and not buy. So I think that's how I think you need to play this.
Gaurav, one theme that has run very well in the market, and between the last time you came and now, we've seen a very rapid explosion of price in pharma stocks like Lupin, Aurobindo Pharma, Glenmark. Some of them have gone up by about 40% at least in the last 3.5 months. Within Sher Khan, what would be the top pharma pick, and does it still merit an entry at current levels?
So for this past few months, I've been talking about basically IT, pharma, and also FMCG, and I've been saying that it's time to take home some profits from engineering companies, capital goods, railway, defense, power, and I think that trade is actually it's worked out quite well. I still think that this trade still have some legs, and I believe that the pharma and IT stocks are going to outperform over the next about a year or so. And in the short term, whatever the speculative or the run up that you have seen in some of the pharma stocks, I think is that also is driven by the bio similar act which has come in US, and that means that there is scope for much higher kind of a business shifting from China to India in terms of the CDMO space. So if you see, most of the guys who have a decent exposure in this space have been doing well. And of course, your branded generic formulation companies like Sun and Lupin have also been doing well. Remember, Sun and Lupin have broken out of their 7.5 years this thing high, and the macro environment for them have improved. The pricing pressure that was there in US has been eased out. They have a very strong pipeline of of these products available. So I think these stocks will still do well from here, though they have been outperformers for last about year or so.
Right. Now, Gaurav ji, another thing that I wanted to ask you is something that's made its debut and a stellar debut yesterday. That's Bajaj Housing Finance. The IPO hit in circuit as well after opening with stellar 120% premium gains. Now, there is a brokerage house report that's also given an even higher target today. Phillips Capital has come out with 210 target. Now, the confusion among investors yesterday was whether to exit the positions after over 100% gains on one day. And for those who did not get the allotment, they were still wondering whether they should be entering at these levels. The questions about valuations also arise. How are you looking at Bajaj Housing Finance at the level that it is right now?
So, if you look at purely numbers, it's trading now at price to book of more than 7, which is not cheap in any way. So, I don't think as an investor you should be buying the stock at this level. In fact, what we advised our investors yesterday was if you want to play some of this upside in the stock, you should actually be going and buying Bajaj Finance or this Bajaj Holding. Especially in case of Bajaj Housing Finance, we believe that such a strong this thing listing will have at least 5 to 8% upside in the stock. So that is the way we are actually playing it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 8:55. Today is Tuesday, and of course, we are ahead of a major event. Gaurav ji, when you look at how IT has outperformed the broader market over the last 3 odd months, we've seen the IT index add about 20-25% to its most recent tally in the quarter gone by. It's supposed to be beneficial for IT stocks, this rate cut that is about to happen in the US. Within Sher Khan, which is the top mid-cap IT pick, has it run its course? And if no, would you suggest an entry at current prices?
So, some of the mid-cap names are not cheap anymore. Okay, so if you look at the best of the companies like LTTS, LTI Mindtree, Persistent Systems, they are all trading at forward P's of 40-45, and they are at around 45% premium to the large cap stocks. So I think if you are talking about mid cap IT, you need to be extremely careful. Though I believe you will get upside from here also, but more quite a few of these stocks are like priced to this perfection right now. So what we are doing is we are looking at stocks like HCL Tech or or this Infosys. HCL is a much larger player. They also have a lot of exposure to to this engineering design space, and that is available at fairly good kind of P multiple. Is available around 22 times on FY 26 earnings, which I don't think is this expensive. Whereas we also are looking at some of the specialized player in the small cap space. Birla Soft is one of these players that we find extremely good. Mastech is another stock where we still have some some missing comfort in terms of of this evaluations. So that is how we are trying to play it. We don't think at this stage it makes sense to increase your exposure into very highly valued mid cap stocks.
Okay. Another space, Gaurav sir, that I wanted to discuss is the entire gems and the jewelry space also with you. Today again there will be a new entrant into this space. PN Gadgil will be making an entry, and we've actually seen over the last 1 month a lot of traction in a whole host of these gems and jewelry space stocks, whether it is TBZ, whether it is Kalyan Jewelers. Titan has been, of course, the leader in the pack and has been moving up. Sky Gold, for instance, Senco Gold, for example, as well. Muthoot and Manappuram are the other gold players as well. How are you looking at this basket right ahead of the festive season, and what do you foresee here?
Right, you just said it's these are play on the start of this festive season, and because of the seasonality factor, these stocks have been doing well. Some of the IPOs which have also been priced pretty good have also had a kind of rub off effect here. Apart from that, the forming of the gold prices, and despite the gold prices going up, demand is not impacted. That is also which is kind of helping the sentiments here. So yes, we this thing like the space. I think Titan, the bigger player in this space, has actually underperformed, and I think the margin of the safety there is great. We are also wait to see how is the listing of PN listing Gadgil, and then this thing take a call, because that's a stock which looks this extremely interesting to us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the pre-open upon us. It's a 90-point uptick, better than what the GIFT Nifty was suggesting. Let's hope it continues. The action now shifts to 25,450 between the bulls and the bears as far as the Nifty is concerned. Let's look at top performers. It was out of Gaurav's mouth and Titan heard it. It's the top gainer, 1.4% higher, 37.94. Let's see how it pans out. Let's look at some other moves. Reliance, 0.3% higher in opening trades, 29.53. HDFC Bank, 0.3% higher, 16.75. You have a strong move coming into Hero Motors, 1.2% higher, 58.44. Let's look at Bajaj Finance, some momentum, 0.3% higher, 7370. ICICI Bank in the green, and ladies and gentlemen, the Nifty has slipped in the red. And why would that be? Let's look at the reasons behind that. Infosys is 2.5% lower. This is the fourth most heaviest weighted counter, 19 rupees, 1906. That's how it is. We'll wait for these to settle. One very quick look I want to take on Bajaj Housing. Let us see how that has opened. It'll be critical. Sakshi, do you have Bajaj Housing's price? Let's look at that one. That's the most critical one to look at for today.
It is 10% higher at 181.
And this is what Sakshi and I had discussed at 3:31 p.m. after markets shut, that it will be opening at an upper circuit. Ladies and gentlemen, there is this possibility of the repeat of IREDA happening, and let us see how it pans out. This is absolutely no advice to buy or sell. But Sakshi, would you please repeat the Phillip Capital price target that has come on Bajaj Housing after yesterday's stellar listing?
Yes, Shail. So Phillip Capital on Bajaj Housing Finance initiates a buy with a target price of 210, which is further up from these levels also that we have seen today.
Okay, again, this is no invitation to buy. This is what the market is thinking, ladies and gentlemen. And the smarter people are in the IPO market after 6, 7, 10 months of the IPO getting listing. So this is froth, this is enthusiasm for retail investors, whatever be it. But another 10% after yesterday's 10% and after yesterday's 114% uptick on listing, then 10 and then another 10. That's what Bajaj Housing is for you. Let us sort of have some sense when it gets listed, and then of course we'll take it from there. But so far the Nifty is flat out, 10 points higher, 25,393. Gauravji, would you comment on this 10% uptick on Bajaj Housing? Is it worth it?
So as I said, it's an excellent play, but however, for the investor at this price, I don't see the this thing comfort level. You are trading at now around 7.5, 8 times this thing price to book. As I said, there is this strong kind of a momentum after the listing, but you are likely to get this stock at the lower listing level. That is what we have seen in the past. And this seems to be more driven by the this thing FOMO this thing factor. But I think rather than chasing this stock, you should wait for a lot many more IPOs which are there in the pipeline. You got Swiggy, LG, Hyundai, NTPC Green. I think in next few months you're going to get a lot of good opportunities to invest in IPOs.
Okay, got it. Let's again look at some of the other stocks as well. Ola Electric is something that we should be also looking at. Remember, there is a new report from Goldman Sachs that initiated a buy with a target price of 160, and BofA, which has initiated a buy with 145 target as well. The stock is about 5.3% higher on the back of buoyant reports coming in at 113 levels. Gaurav ji, how are you assessing Ola Electric? And beyond this also, you could help us understand in the two-wheeler space, how are you looking at the opportunities?
So yes, Ola is an example where the stock actually went up for a few days after the listing, and then it was available at this lower price. So that is the example you can take when you are trying to chase this in Bajaj Housing. Now coming to the two-wheeler space, what we think and believe is that Hero Moto is a excellent stock to buy at this price. It has started showing improvement in volumes. It's a entry level bike, and with good monsoons, I think Hero will do well because it has a very large exposure to this rural space. They also have ownership of Ether, which is another EV scooter this thing company which this thing plans an IPO. So I think there are a lot of this thing triggers in place for Hero Moto, and the valuations are also this thing comfortable despite the appreciation that we have seen in past 1 year. So in this space, what we like is Hero at these levels.
Correct. And again, the tailwind of the 4,000 crore rupee IPO of its EV unit that Hero Motors has floated. Remember, the moment Ola Electric got listed, the other two-wheeler makers naturally got the value of their EV business from the market. Ola listed at a market cap of 60,000 crore rupees, and it is the market leader in the two-wheeler electric space, but a market leader which is losing market share. So all those people who had this product have shown dramatically. Look at Bajaj Auto's price. At the beginning of the festival season, somewhere in August, the company made a statement it was looking to sell 100,000 vehicles, that is 1 lakh electric vehicles per month in this festival season, and the stock has not looked back since. I remember the price of about sub 9,000 at that point of time, and of course now at a record high in a kissing distance of 12,000 points. That is what Bajaj Auto is, and Hero Motors is what Gaurav has stamped upon. I believe Osho is with us. Mr. Osho Krishnan joins us from Angel Broking. Good morning to you, Osho. What a day to welcome you. Tuesday and Visarjan in Mumbai. How do you see the Bank Nifty from current levels, and what would be your two top picks?
Very good morning, Shail sir. Very good morning, Sakshi. Thank you for having me at the show. For Bank Nifty, yes, Bank Nifty is looking much more better than the technical chart setup of Nifty, because on Bank Nifty we have seen inverted head and shoulder pattern breakout on the daily time frame. So I am expecting that from here onwards, two major developments has happened on the charts of Bank Nifty. First is the inverted head and shoulder. Second, the 52,000 mark has been crossed. So from here onwards, I am expecting a target of nearly 52,700 on Bank Nifty, looking at the momentum in private sector banks and financials. this target can be seen within 1 to 2 trading sessions. So I'm much more bullish on Bank Nifty than Nifty for the day. And coming to the top two technical picks, the first one is CAMS. CAMS have seen a very strong breakout in last trading session. It has emerged above the exponential moving averages and has also witnessed a sloping trendline breakout. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, the momentum should continue in CAMS. And on the higher end, I'm expecting a target of nearly 4,700 for a very short-term duration, maybe by 1 or 2 days. 4,700 can be seen in CAMS, while on the lower end, it is advisable to keep a stop loss at 43.70. The second counter which is looking very positive to me is Manappuram Finance. Manappuram Finance in the last two trading sessions have seen a very strong traction in the buying with in terms of volumes also, and we have also seen a bullish gap on the daily time frame. So I'm expecting that from here onwards the momentum should continue in Manappuram also. On the higher end, 222 is the immediate target. Once it breaches that zone, then again it can move towards the zone of 230. But for short term, the target is 222, while it is advisable to keep a stop loss of 208.
Very good morning to you, Osho. Good to have you with us. The markets in the pre-open rates have nearly settled. The Nifty at 25,416, indicating a 1/10% higher move at open. When we look at the top performers right now in the pre-open, then you have Bharti Airtel up nearly 1%, Tata Motors, Hindalco, Titan, Kotak Mahindra Bank and HDFC Bank as among the top 5-6 movers. And when we look at the sectors, barring the IT, rest all of the sectors seem to be opening higher. Even the IT is flat with a negative bias only. But gains in broader markets, especially in small caps, consumer durables, autos, oil and gas and private banks. These are the pockets that are showing probably an opening which could be higher in trades today. But let me get you, Osho, to talk about the metal space particularly. This space has been shining bright of late. Where do you think the momentum continuing, and should one be taking further positions in metals today?
See, metals are looking very positive. There are various counters which have seen very strong breakout. For example, JSW Steel have seen a very strong breakout in the last trading session. On the daily time frame, it has emerged above the zone of 960 approximately, and which is the previous swing high. So I'm expecting that from here onwards there can be decent momentum in metal space also. And till now, majority of the heavyweight counters were into a lackluster phase or into a consolidation phase, but in the last two trading sessions they have started gaining traction. So companies like Hindalco, Tata Steel, these are looking very positive, and these are at a very strong support zone. So from here onwards, the risk and reward in Tata Steel and Hindalco is looking very promising, and one can definitely bet on the long side for these counters in the coming period. But on the breakout side, JSW Steel has given a breakout on the daily time frame.
Absolutely. A cut in global interest rate cycle is going to be very, very beneficial for metal counters, which, by the way, have corrected very, very sharply over the last 2 or 3 sessions. There is a sign of activity. Let me just give you the health of the Nifty Metals Index. It is down 3.7% over the last quarter. This is after a 3% uptick over the last 3 or 5 trading sessions. Remember, the top performing index is the Nifty IT index. It has gained 25% in the last 3 months. Osho, a very, very quick view that you can provide on stocks such as Biocon and whatever pharma stock that you believe will outperform on the charts.
See, overall, the pharma and healthcare space is looking very positive. They have been into a very strong traction from the past 3 to 4 weeks. Majority of the companies are at their 52-week high. So Biocon firstly is looking very positive, approximately near the zone of 400, but again 400 being a psychological mark and the technical parameters are a little bit a stretch on the higher end. So I expect that 400 can be seen as the immediate hurdle for Biocon. But other counters like from the healthcare industry like Syngene is looking very positive. Laboratories companies are looking very positive. So healthcare companies are also looking very positive. So one should have their focus on healthcare and pharma companies, and they should keep on riding the momentum with their trailing stop losses on the higher end. Because on technical front, obviously all these counters are near about their overbought territory. So not very much aggressive on the targets and risk reward portfolio, but overall the momentum is there, and one should try to ride the momentum in the for the coming periods.
Okay, let's get in Gaurav ji into the conversation before the markets also open. Gaurav ji, which are the pockets that you believe that now the incremental flow will start pouring into? Are there any one or two sectors that you've identified for the second half of the fiscal year where now starts to look more attractive?
Like I said, when you have an interest rate cut cycle in place, the banking stocks will do well. Private sector banks have been underperformers, and that's where there is also comfort in terms of valuations. I think some of the flows will go there. Obviously, NBFC will do well because they have to borrow from the wholesale market, and if the interest rates go down, they have a positive impact on their NIMs. NBFCs have already started doing well. I think that is going to pick up. Number two, what we are seeing is that there is a clear sign or the commentary from the large FMCG players that there is this revival in this rural demand. So rural demand specific stocks I think should also do well, and some of these stocks are available at better or more or this relatively more this reasonable kind of valuation compared to other spaces. So I think these are the spaces where you could see a large part of the incremental flows.
Ladies and gentlemen, the market is upon us on this lovely Tuesday morning. Bit of a back foot for the Nifty, nothing to be worried about. Flat as flat can be, 25,390. The bank index is opening 45 points higher. Profit booking in IT in the initial 1 or 2 seconds, down 120 points on the IT index. Let's take a look at what the individual stocks are telling us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at Reliance, 3 rupees 30 higher, 24.95. Let's look at HDFC Bank, 2 rupees higher, 16.72. Let's look at a very sharp move coming on Hindustan Unilever, 11 rupees higher, 28.78. But the only stock that I'm interested is in Bajaj Housing, 9% higher, 179.85. It's at a 10% maximum upper circuit. Let's see what happens. So there's nothing much to talk about technically in this one. There isn't much data. Let's look at some other interesting stocks that have come up in trade. Ola Electric, 5% higher, 112.87. A very nice brokerage report coming in, raising the target. About 555 crores worth of transactions have happened on Bajaj Housing already. The counters 9% higher. Bombay Stock Exchange taking it away. This is something that you need to help us with. Osho, 3% higher and a fresh record high, 35.53. What do you do with BSC? Chase this momentum. Yesterday the counter rose 70%.
See, yesterday the counter have seen a very strong breakout around the zone of 3200, and all these related companies like CAM, CDSL, BSC, all these counter have seen a very strong traction. So there can be a follow-up buying because yesterday's trade was seen on that has been backed by very strong volume. So I expect that there can be a strong follow-up buying can be seen in this counter. On the lower end, again the breakout zone, the 3200 zone is the immediate support. So from this reward point of view, fresh accumulation should be done on a very conservative approach, but those who are holding the position, they can definitely hold with a stop loss of 3200. On the higher end, not very much aggressive, but I am expecting nearly 3580, 3600 kind of a target for intraday in BSC.
Okay, and a very big large transaction has happened on Tata Motors, 1762 crores, single deal, and the counter is down 2% at 966. There's a circuit on Bajaj Housing, but still a lot of activity happening. Already 1059 crores worth of shares have been traded. Remember, yesterday's total quantity was 9992 crores. Sakshi, yours.
Okay, let's also look at some of the other spaces. Oil and gas looks interesting, especially the city gas distributors are surging. Both IGL and MGL are higher. This is after UBS report upgrading the targets prices for both of these stocks as well. For MGL, they have raised the target to 2400 from 1600 earlier, and the stock is up 4.3%. On IGL, they have upgraded the stock to buy from sell and raised the target price to 700 as well. They believe the inorganic growth prospects complement the strong near-term fundamentals as well. They also believe that for these companies, volume trajectory could continue to surprise positively as well. Let's get in Gaurav ji into the conversation. Oil and gas, and especially the city gas distributors, for you.
Yeah, I think these stocks have been doing well. In fact, after a good fall correction, these are bouncing back again. But this is a space which has been quite this thing volatile, especially because of the volatility in the crude oil prices. Now, crude oil has in past few days jumped back again, and that is why you're seeing some interest in the space. But largely it has become more of a trading space now rather than buy, hold, and invest.
Trading space now rather than the buy, hold and invest. Okay, we'll get Osho's view here. Osho, what will you do with IGL and MGL?
See, both the counters have been into a consolidation phase, and today with the report, I am expecting that there can be strong traction in these counters. But for MGL, 1900 being a psychological mark, and it has been hovering near the same zone for over 2 weeks. So I expect 1900 can be seen as the immediate hurdle. The time we see a decisive breakthrough above 1900, then we can see a decisive upsurge of approximately 1000 point on the higher end for MGL, but comparatively, IGL is looking very positive. This counter is already almost 5.5% higher, but has seen a very strong movement, and I am expecting that from here onwards, it can move towards the zone of 580 in a very short-term time frame. So this can be seen for short-term traders with today's low as a stop loss.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, Sakshi, I think it's a day that is going to belong to the FMCG index. Why I say this is that the entire other market will be defensive because it doesn't want to extend positions. So defensive counters, FMCG index is the top gainer, 0.6% higher. Nifty Pharma index is flat as flat can be, but in the green. Sakshi and I tracked 19 indices for you. Only 5 are in the green, and the rest are showing signs of profit booking, something that I had suggested before markets close. Remember, ahead of the event, which is the US federal rate cut, which is likely to happen on Wednesday night, we will be reacting to that on Thursday morning, and ahead of that, sensible people at least are taking some money away from the fantastic returns that they've made over the last 1 month, 3 months or so, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, something good to look at. Sakshi, liquor and liquor. Nothing else is moving. Radico Khaitan is the top gainer in the FMCG index, 2% higher, 2164. United Spirits is running away, 0.5% higher at 1554. And in the move is stocks such as Global Spirits, stocks such as United Breweries. Osho, I know you don't consume the product, but what are the shares of liquor companies telling you, which is your best pick?
See, from the last 1 week, there has been very strong traction in companies like UBL and United Spirits. Both have been in the radar and has been given recommendations on our portal also. So there has been a decent move in liquor companies in the last one week. So overall, majority of the space is looking very positive. Radico has seen a very strong breakout, but it has already given a very strong return in last trading session. But comparatively, I expect that UBL and United Spirits are into a very strong momentum, and this should continue. UBL firstly has crossed 2100 on a decisive manner last trading session and is expected to move towards the zone of 2160 on a very short term time frame. So this is a very positive technical structure for UBL, and same with United Spirits. It has been in the cycle of higher highs, so I am expecting that there can be momentum prevailing in these counters for the coming period. So one should definitely try to ride momentum in the liquor companies for the time.
Okay, got it. Let's now look at some other pockets as well, which are actually showing us some traction. We are looking at now HUL pulling up 1.5% higher at 29.11. Let's get Gaurav ji into the conversation. Gaurav ji, how have you assessed the recent up move in HUL after a long haul of underperformance of nearly 3 to 4 years? The stock has slowly and gradually climbed up to its record levels, showing us some further momentum. Is this a stock that you would look at now?
So the rural side demand has been pretty weak after this COVID pandemic, and only after quarter four, somewhere in April, May, some of these companies started commenting that there are early signs of improvement in demand. After the quarter one numbers, they again this thing confirmed it, and you can also see in the pickup in this volume growth of these company. That is why I've been saying that FMCG is a space that could outperform and lead the market rally for more than a year, because some of these stocks here like HUL, Dabur, Godrej Consumer, ITC, valuations are not too stretched, and they are a play on the uptick in this rural demand.
Okay, got it. Britannia is also pulling up in trade, I
924.
think, 1.5% higher. Tata Consumer Products is another one. Nestle, I think the entire FMCG basket is showing us some traction. And Osho, would like to ask you as well, would you take any FMCG picks right now?
Yes, definitely. Majority of the FMCG space or the counters are looking very strong. Firstly, the counter which is having a very strong base setup is Tata Consumer. Tata Consumer in the recent period have seen a very decent consolidation near the zone of 1180, 1200 and have started gaining strong traction in last two trading sessions. So I expect the time it gives a breakout above 1240, then from here onwards we can see a breakout of cup and handle pattern on the technical time frame, which will be having a very strong target of nearly 250 odd points on the higher end. So there can be a decent move in Tata Consumer from medium term time frame. The counter looks very positive, and fresh breakout is seeing in Marico. Marico have seen a very strong breakout in today's session. It is holding the zone of 700. So I expect that for the first 1 hour, if it sustains above 700, then from here onwards also we can see a decent traction. So overall, FMCG space is looking very positive. The momentum is still there. There can be some certain blips in between profit booking, but overall majority of the counters are looking very positive. Godrej Consumers, Tata Consumer, Marico, Dabur and HUL, these will be the preferred pick from this space.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, trying to visit Ola Electric. It's on a high horse after that upgrade that it got from a brokerage. Now 5% higher, if not more. Yes, 4.7% higher. Osho, although the price history is a little less, but immediately do you see this trend accelerating, or is it just a flash in the pan? What about Ola Electric? So far, you have a strong volume of about 252 crores in the first 7, 8, 10 minutes of trade.
See, overall, as you have mentioned, that technically the data is not very suffice to give a very strong view in Ola Electric, but I still expect that there has been consolidation in the last 7 to 8 trading sessions around the zone of 110. So the time it breaches the zone of 116, 117, then we can see a kind of reversal or a kind of positive movement in this counter. So I expect 116 to be seen as immediate hurdle. The time it surpasses the zone of 116 on a decisive manner, one can definitely expect another 8 to 10 point kind of a rally in Ola Electric.
Okay, we'll wait for that. And what else is moving in strength? I think it would be good to see stocks that have hit record highs at a time when you see flat move in the market. So in the all-time high list of NSE 500, let's look at the FMCG stocks at record highs. Britannia at 6183. It's the top gainer. Osho, I'm requesting you to please look at the charts. Dabur 1.2% higher, 669. Marico changes a digit, 702, up in the green, about a percent higher. I would imagine Trent is also in FMCG. So 74.16, 1.3% higher. And of course, you have other names like United Spirits, 1556, about 0.5% higher, and BSE, which we've already discussed, topping out at 35.53. To you, Osho, Britannia.
Again, the trend is very positive in this counter, but in the last few trading sessions, the volume has not been very much attractive. The counter has been in the cycle of higher highs, has taken support of 21-day exponential moving average, and again have started gaining traction. But on the volume front, there has been a kind of a little bit decrease on the trading volume, but still the trend is very positive. So I expect that one should definitely try to go with the momentum and should trail their stop losses on the higher end. For now, 6200 being a psychological mark, and we have to check the derivative out data also, but 6200 seems to be immediate hurdle for the day, and already the counter have surged approximately more than 2%. So once it crosses 6200, then only we can see fresh traction on the higher end in Britannia. But overall trend is very positive for short to medium term traders or investors. One should definitely stay invested and keep their stop losses around the zone of 6,000.
Okay, got it. Let's get Gauravji into the conversation as well to help us understand what else can we really look at in the current realm. We are looking at FMCG, oil and gas, pharma, banks, and that's about it. Rest of the spaces have slipped lower in trade. We're also looking at in the broader markets, some stocks like Kohinoor Foods, that's rallying, I think about 10%. Remember, yesterday it was all the rice names that were actually doing the rounds. So you can actually see some continuation of that move coming in. Liquor stocks clearly like Shell has also marked is continuing to surge higher. GM Breweries is also joining the list now in terms of the movers. Yesterday also the stock was higher in trade. Let's get Gauravji to discuss this entire liquor space as well. Do you see a re-rating happening across the sector right now, sir? And is this the right time to have some of these stocks in the portfolio?
So, just like this jewelry stocks, liquor stocks are also a play on the start of this festive season, and this is the time when these stocks do outperform. Apart from this, a lot of activities happening there. A lot of our local companies have been introducing brands which have been doing well, not only in India but across the world, and I think that has brought the spotlight on the space. Radico is a stock that we like at all the levels within the mid cap, small cap space. A stock that we have been tracking actively is this allied distinct blenders. So we feel that is a stock which can also move into this branded space. They have their brands and they have been this in trying to upscale. And we see scope for some value unlocking there.
Okay.
I think Sakshi.
Yes, sir.
I think Sakshi, the stock to watch is ICICI Bank. Before we thank Gaurav, let's just request him to give his view on where the stock could be based on fundamentals, and then of course Osho will take it from then on. Of the 64-point uptick on Nifty Bank, 53 points have come in from ICICI Bank, now at a record high. Gauravji, your view on ICICI?
So ICICI Bank has been our pick in this space, private sector space, and we still believe that ICICI will show up better growth in terms of their core earnings. Asset quality side also it's doing quite well, and if as I said that banks, especially the private sector banks, should do well over the next 1 year, ICICI Bank should be there in your holding this portfolio. Apart from this, one of my analysts just this thing tells me that there could be a specific opportunity in few stocks. Chorus Biosciences has actually plummeted in the global listing markets because they are talking about shortage of certain similar listing products, and those products are also exported from India, especially by the Biocon and also by the Dr. Reddy's. So they can get some kind of a short-term opportunity in terms of higher volume uptake in that space. So I think those are the two stocks also which you can keep on on this radar. Lastly, this thing before I log out, I would want to give my my this thing disclosure. All the stocks that I've spoken about, I might have vested interest in them, and also we have our in-house this investment products where we have been investing in these stocks for our clients, for our investors.
Fair point. Thank you, Gaurav, for your time spent with us, and of course, we'll keep an eye out on stocks that you've recommended. Osho, a very quick one on ICICI Bank. Where is it headed?
See, ICICI Bank has given a fresh breakout, and I'm expecting that the momentum should continue in this counter. Overall, on technical front, this counter is looking very promising to me, and I expect, as I have mentioned, that Bank Nifty looks very positive to me. So ICICI, being the major player in from the Bank Nifty, can see a very drastic upsurge. Immediately 1290 1300 is the target on technical front, but the kind of formation that it has made, approximately I expect near about 100 kind of a move can be seen in this counter. So 1350 is the target that one can expect from short term perspective. Let's say for 1 month or 2 months, the kind of a target for ICICI Bank. Overall, very positive. Any dip comes towards the zone of 1240 should be auguring very well to accumulate this counter for short term and even for long and medium term also.
Okay, got it. Osho, let's again look at some of the other pockets then. Divi's Laboratories is moving up within the healthcare pack, about 1% higher in trade. Apollo Hospitals is another one that's also up by 1% among the top Nifty movers. The healthcare pack, especially these diagnostic names and hospitals, how are you looking at these spaces, and where do you see momentum continuing even now?
See, overall, there has been very strong momentum in majority of the counters from the healthcare space. I expect that this momentum should continue. For example, companies, stocks like Fortis, Apollo Hospital, these are into a very strong positive trajectory with kind of a vertical movement. So I expect that there can be continuity in these counters. One should just keep trailing their stop losses to higher levels, to keep trailing their profits on the higher levels. Then laboratories companies, as you have mentioned, are also looking very positive. But obviously on technical front, the whole pharma and healthcare sector are on the overbought terrain, because from the past 3 or 4 weeks, there has been a consecutive rally that can be seen. So overall, the momentum is still there, and one should try to ride momentum in pharma companies.
Fair point. That's a very sensible suggestion that's coming in. Sakshi, I think time to pay attention to another mid-cap cement counter called Nuvoco. This is of course from the stable of Nirma, the powder maker, washing powder maker. Mid-cap cement company that got listed about 4-5 years ago, hasn't done anything at all because there is this heavy competition in the cement sector. Margins are squeezed, and of course the two top players, Ultratech and Ambuja, are slugging it out to reduce the number of players. But a very high volume breakout very early happening on Nuvoco. Osho, when you look at the charts, what are they telling you? The counter is around 200-day DMA. At the moment, about how many shares have been traded? Well, I'll give you the number, but it's higher than the 5-day average, and of course 3x, 4x yesterday's volume. Nuvoco for you, Osho.
Nuvoco have seen a good traction in the recent period. There has been positive momentum, and as you have mentioned, it has even crossed the cluster of its moving averages on the higher end. But from here onwards, yes, there can be a positive movement that can be seen, because there has been decent volume in the buying. So I expect near about 375 to be seen as immediate hurdle. The time it breaches the zone of 375, then from here onwards we can expect a very strong breakout, because that will be kind of a double, not properly double bottom, but that can be seen as a decent breakout on the daily time frame. So then after it reaches the zone of 375, then it has the potential to move towards the zone of 420 on short term time frame.
Okay. Let's also look at some of the other spaces that are gaining further traction. IT is now into the green. That's moving up. You also have financial services, infra pack also moving up as well. These are some of the pockets that are moving up. LTI Mindtree has pulled up among the top 5 movers on the Nifty within the IT pack. Let's also look at some of the other gainers then. Persistent, L&T Technology Services, Emphasis, Coforge, they seem to be in some traction right now. How are you looking at the IT basket as of now, Osho? Does anything interest you here?
See, overall, the whole IT space is into a consolidation phase. No doubt there has been very strong movement on the higher end. All the counters are near about the high levels only, but there has been some kind of consolidation in the recent period in majority heavy counters. But I expect that there can be a further movement. Only we are expecting that once the Fed rate will come, then only the IT space will start gaining some traction. So I expect that there is very strong momentum prevailing in these counters, but there has been some kind of consolidation, so that can be seen as a base setup, especially in the heavyweight counters like TCS, Infosys, which are hovering from the last 2 weeks at their all-time high. So I expect that there can be strong breakout. One should wait for the breakout to start accumulating for short term, or for an investor it is definitely they can accumulate these counters at these levels also.
Right. Now, Osho, apart from this, let's look at some of the other broader markets. Some names are actually coming up, so let me just name them. Bama Lorry is pulling up in trade to 90. This is one of the stocks that Mayuresh has often talked about on the channel. You have Sona BLW Precision that's moving up. EPAC Durable that's been getting traction over the last few days. Thermax is also moving up. There was a news flow with the subsidiary getting a large order, and therefore the stock is continuing to be in thick trade. Remember the entire food space, the rice space that I've been talking about. So Chaman Lal Setia Exports is still up in trade today. So those are some of the names. Zaggle Prepaid is also buzzing in trade of late. In the last few sessions also we've seen this one rising up in trade. Anything that catches your attention in the broader markets, Osho, what will you really look at?
See, the name you mentioned, Balmer Lorry, is looking very positive. There has been a strong consolidation for the last 3 weeks, but today this counter have seen some good breakout on the back of volumes. There was volume in the last 3 trading session, but today we are witnessing a breakout in this counter. So consolidation breakout can lead for a further upside movement towards the zone of 300, 305 on immediate basis. The time it surpasses the zone of 305, then it can move towards the next highs of 320. So overall, this counter is looking very positive. Other counters which has seen a very strong movement in the last trading session and has been in my radar is the rice companies like KRBL is looking very positive. After a very long period of time, this has emerged above the 200-day SMA, and that has been backed by very strong volumes and has seen a runaway gap also. So I expect that this counter can be seen to accumulate for short-term perspective or even for medium-term perspective with a stop loss of nearly 305, and I am expecting with the kind of movement that it has seen, it might move towards the zone of 340 in the short-term period.
$9:42, ladies and gentlemen. The first 27-28 minutes of trade have lapsed, and I am constrained to mark Bajaj Housing simply because of the volume rush. So far, 2,480 crores worth of shares have been traded. Yesterday's volume was 9,982 crores in terms of value, and what is really interesting, Sakshi, is that out of 63.67 crore shares that were traded on the first day of listing, 32.7 crores shares translated into delivery. So that's a decent 50% on the first day of listing. and so far the stock has now come off the circuit. It's fluctuating between 174 rupees and 181 rupees, but huge amount of volume happening in number of shares. Let me just find out how much has been traded. That will give you an idea about the volume. Okay, so this is 13 crore 99 lakh shares have been traded on Bajaj Housing Finance, now 14 crores, and it's just sort of very hectic volume, just a shade below the circuit, which is at 181.5. So the counter is now 8.9% higher, and that is how it is trading at. It'll, I'm very sure, overtake the top traded counter today, which is Tata Motors, where there was a huge block deal, a single block deal of 1760 crore rupees. Hectic activity there as well. 2624 crores worth of Tata Steel has been traded, and of course Ola Electric now 357 crores, Bombay Stock Exchange now 761 crores, and that is the kind of activity that is happening in the markets, ladies and gentlemen, at about 9:44. Let's look at the broader space as far as advanced decline ratio is concerned. The Nifty, by the way, is back in the green. 898 stocks in the green, Sakshi. 1350 stocks in the red. So the advanced decline is now favoring bears on Dalal Street, and this is what I was referring to, that sensible people are booking partial profit on the supernormal gains that they have made ahead of a major event. God forbid, if there is no rate cut on Wall Street, you will see a very sharp sell-off across the board. Sakshi.
Well, PN Gadgil is something that we need to turn focus to. The pre-open rates are indicating, and the BSE, the stock could be opening at 834 levels. This is against the issue price of 480 rupees. So that's the kind of stellar move that you could actually expect on PN Gadgil. That's almost a 354 rupees premium to the issue price is what we are expecting. Almost that could mean as over 73% kind of a premium is what you can expect on PN Gadgil as well. So that's something that we will return to at 10 a.m. but that's something that you can keep an eye out on. PNG Jewelers, you can see some shots coming in live from NSE as well. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, the CEO of NSE, talking about this new entrant and the debut today, but we will be getting you more on it a little later as well. Let's see what else is moving. Oracle Financial Software Services within the IT pack is buzzing now in F&O space as well. Osho, how are you looking at this stock?
Pardon me, can you please
Oracle Financial Services Software. This is now at a day's high at 2.6% higher in trade.
Yes, this counter has been in a very strong positive trajectory in the last 3 sessions, especially when it has given a breakout around the zone of 11,500. From there onwards, there has been very strong vertical rally in this counter. So one needs, if someone is holding the position, then one can definitely hold the position, because on technical front, obviously this counter have been into a overbought trajectory. So I expect that from here onwards, fresh accumulation will not favor the risk and reward. But for those who are already having the position, they can hold the position, keeping a stop loss around 11,900 for the time being. Even for from here onwards, as we have seen decent traction in the last 3 trading sessions in terms of volume. So obviously, if one wants to accumulate this counter, then the stop loss prevails around the zone of 12,100. So that is the stop loss one needs to hold and can accumulate for short-term perspective.
Okay, so that's as far as Oracle Financial Services is concerned. The financial services sector as a whole is now abuzz with gains. SBI Life is coming back after losses over the last few days, 1.2% higher. Shriram Finance is up, ICICI Lombard, Cholamandalam Investment. You also have SBI Cards moving, Bajaj Finance in the green as well. Banking counters, of course, have been in the green. LIC Housing Finance is another one that's pulling up. Financial services space for you, Osho, where would you keep your attention in the NBFC space?
Majority of the counters are looking very positive. As you have mentioned, some of them, Shriram Finance, Chola Finance, these counters have seen strong traction. Firstly, Shriram Finance has been a very strong positive trajectory, hovering at 5-day exponential moving average. So overall, there has been very positive traction in this counter. So I expect that there can be a continuation to the uptrend in this counter because there has been a kind of consolidation for the counter approximately around the zone of 3250, 3270 odd levels, and from there onwards have started gaining traction once again. So I expect that this will prevail in the market in the coming period because banking and financials both are looking very positive, and I'm expecting that they can move the market a bit higher from these points. So financials are looking very positive. Again, coming to Chola Finance, this counter has seen a very strong breakout in the recent period, and after that has seen a very strong vertical rally. So I expect that the runaway gap, which is approximately around the zone of 1530, 1540, this is a very strong support. One should hold their position or even can make fresh positions, keeping a stop of 1530. And upside, I am expecting a target of nearly 1620 for short-term perspective. And once it crosses the zone, then we again need to review because looking at the overall view with trading volumes, I am expecting that the continuation can be seen in majority of the financial companies.
Nine 50, ladies and gentlemen. We have 10 minutes in trade lapsed for this show. What is buzzing now? Let me just mark some interesting stocks for you. We've done so much on the front line. Sakshi, we haven't spoken about Bandhan Bank. I don't know for how long. Now, this is a stock that has a lot of people enthused on the long side. Osho, I am requesting you to please look at the Bandhan Bank stock. It is around 200-day DMA, but if you look at the monthly chart, Sakshi, it's at possibly the worst point of its life. The all-time low on Bandhan Bank is 176, which we saw in the worst phase of the COVID in April 2024 and in April 2020. But in April 2024, 4 years later, the stock was around 182 levels. So it's done practically nothing. Osho, what are the immediate charts of Bandhan Bank telling you?
Immediately, if I have to say, then this counter can be suggested as because this counter has been giving a kind of a cycle of higher highs, higher lows in the last 2 or 3 trading months. So I expect that this should continue. Also, it is hovering just near to 200-day SMA. So 200 odd zone can be seen as a very crucial support zone for this counter. If it will plunge below the 200-day SMA, then again it can go towards the zone of 190. And being an underperformer, I am not very much convinced as of now. But if it crosses the zone of its previous high, which is approximately around the zone of 220, then from here onwards, this can give a confirmation of a rising wedge. So I can expect that it can be moving with a pace of higher highs, higher lows in the coming period. So that can be an accumulation zone. But for short-term traders, if someone wants to accumulate at current levels, then it will be advisable to keep a stop loss of 190, and one can accumulate for a target of nearly 220 to 224 for short-term perspective.
Okay, let's look at some of the other pockets then. Where else can we find some momentum stocks? Another stock within the entire space in F&O is IEX. I wanted to ask you that, Osho. How are you looking at this stock? Has been continuously in momentum. Now it's above 222 odd levels. Where do you see this stock headed?
IEX has been covered by me in various shows, so I expect that from here onwards, 240 can be seen as the immediate target because it has given a breakout around the zone of 200. It has hovered for approximately 2 to 3 weeks around the same zone, and now it has started gaining traction. So the immediate target for IEX, that is on technical basis, comes around the zone of 240. So one should definitely hold their position for a higher target of 240. while on the lower end, 200 should be acting as a very strong support for this counter. For fresh accumulation, one can even also do fresh accumulation with a on a staggered manner, because after the vertical rally, there can be some kind of cool off, but I'm still expecting that 210.15 should be acting as a very strong cushioning zone for this counter, and one can definitely try to accumulate further around the same zone. On the higher end, 240 is the target. The other counter which has given a breakout just now is Torrent Power. Torrent
Okay.
Power is looking very positive, so that can be seen. It has already surged approximately 5% for the day.
Uh-huh.
But on the technical front, approximately 1880 to 1890 is a previous closer. So if it sustains above the same zone, one can definitely try to accumulate. The buying has been backed by a decent volume, so I expect that there can be a decent move in the coming period. So for now, this counter can be kept in the watch list.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to a day. It's going to be a day where Nuvoco, the stock that I had just picked up on the charts, will matter. The strength is now getting better and better. Just now, the counter crossed 370, 371 rupees, and Osho has already given his price target. Nice monthly and weekly pictures are now emerging on this one. So please keep an eye out on Nuvoco. Remember, the volume has broken out already, and now I have the data. About 12.3 lakh shares of Nuvoco have already been traded, and this is at least 6 times the 5-day average. So please keep this price and volume chart in front of you. This is turning out to be a very exciting day for this mid-cap cement player, and it's other mid-cap cement companies which are also doing good. Binani Industries 5% higher, Saurashtra Cement 1.7% higher at 129, Star Cement is buzzing at 209.3, 0.7% higher, but needless to say, it's a day that belongs to Nuvoco. A very strong move coming in here. What else would I like to mark in terms of top gainers? Let me see if there is some name that I can pick up which are not from the small cap space. There is okay, I'd rather keep quiet, but maybe I can mark Panasia Biotech. Circuit up 5%, 349.8. What else is moving? These are the only stocks which I would like to name. In terms of new highs, we've discussed the first 4: Bajaj Housing, DSE, Dixon, and Mahanagar Gas. Sakshi's marked Oracle Finance. I have marked ICICI Bank. Any interesting name? Radico, we've also discussed 2175. Policy Bazaar, fresh high, 3% higher, 1853. And of course, there's no stopping jewelry stocks. PN Gadgil, again a word, 480 was the issue price, listing somewhere like 854. Remember, the post-issue market capitalization for PNG was PN Gadgil was somewhere like 6,500 crore rupees. At the listing price of 854, this will translate to about 11,500 crore rupees. So good gains coming in for the previous 2 IPOs that have got listed: Premier Energies 2 weeks ago, and of course Bajaj Housing yesterday, and we have a strong move expected in PN Gadgil today. Sakshi.
Right, absolutely. We're just 3 minutes away, and we will be looking at PN Gadgil in a bit to finally see the kind of listing that we see on this one. But let's again look at some of the other pockets that quickly we can ask Osho before we let him go for the course of the day as well, where the momentum can continue to shift to. Osho, do you have anything else in mind where exactly investors can continue to focus on through the course of the day in case one still has to be on the buy side?
There are few counters which are looking very positive. First one is Varun Beverages, second one is Policy Bazaar, and third one is Heidelberg Cement. This counter is looking very positive to me. So all these 3 counters are looking positive. Firstly, Varun Beverages has been gaining traction, and I expect that all the beverages companies are looking very positive after the split. this counter have tested the 21-day exponential moving average and can again retest the higher zone of 680 on the short-term time frame. So Varun Beverages can be seen as a short-term pick for from the technical perspective. Other one is Policy Bazaar has seen a very strong movement and has even emerged above the previous closing. So I am expecting that from here onwards, the continuation can be seen in this counter for immediate target of 1900. That is for very short-term perspective. Overall, the trend is very positive. It is in the cycle of higher highs, higher lows, taking support from the 21-day exponential moving average and moving on the higher end. And third one is Heidelberg Cement. This counter is forming a very strong base setup, and I expect the time it breaches the zone of 240, then from there onwards we can see a very strong up move. Approximately 280 is the short-term target, but looking at the overall formation on the technical perspective, even it can surge approximately 70 to 80 points from here onwards. So near about 310, 320 kind of a movement. Price levels can be seen in this counter also.
Okay, got it. Well, we will thank you, Osho, for being with us on this very special edition then and sharing with us all of these stocks, which we will continue to keep in mind throughout the course of the day as well. So thanks for sharing all these insights. The markets have slipped a little lower, 25,367, 16 points of a cut on the Nifty. Largely, most of the sectors have also come under pressure. Only FMCG, oil and gas, financial services, they remain in the green, and that too minute gains coming in, with the FMCG about 0.3% higher in trade. So the market mood is turning a bit on the lower side and negative. Britannia, Divis Laboratories, LTI Mindtree in the thick trade. So you can actually see IT, FMCG, Pharma, all of them, the defensives really coming into focus right now. In the F&O space, you have IGL, MGL and Oracle Financial Services that you have. Okay, there you have it, PN Gadgil's listing taking place in front of you. And as was being suggested to you that this price could be as far as, yes, so there is, oh my God, okay, that's wonderful, that's the... So it's a very, very auspicious moment that they are celebrating PN Gadgil Jewelers listing with, coinciding with the Ganesh Visarjan today. So Ganpati Visarjan happening right there, and definitely a stellar listing coming in for PN Gadgil. I'm just trying to look at the price at which it has got listed. Do you have that, Shail, yet?
But I've never seen a decor, a feel, an aura like this. So
at the moment 811 up 70%. So it's a stunning move that has happened for all shareholders of PN Gadgil. The issue was priced at 480 rupees. The first initial tick that came in was at about 830, now at about 811 rupees. So typically money has doubled in a span of just 1 week. So all those lucky enough to get shares in this 1100 crore rupee IPO, which was priced at 480, are rejoicing. Remember, instead of buying gold jewelry, if you buy gold stocks or gold financing stocks, you will make more money. But then that is an advice coming from a person who has tracked stocks and has little or no interest in jewelry. So that is what it is. It was an offer for sale for 250 crores, and the fresh issue of 850 crores was to be used for capital expenditure and repayment of debt obligations as far as PN Gadgil is concerned. The FY24 revenue was 6,110 crores and the profit after tax was 154 crores. In the last 2 years, revenue has risen by 54% and profit after tax has risen by 48%. PN Gadgil has a debt of 456 crore rupees, and the IPO that raised fresh issue of 850 will be partly used to pay off debt as well. So those are very, very good signs of reduction in debt plus expansion in physical presence, which all put together has added to this lovely uptick. Now 787, still up about 50-55%. The listing quote was 834. Sakshi.
Absolutely. So that's now 65% higher at 794. That's the kind of move that we are getting on PN Gadgil. We will continue to get you fascinating insights from the world of IPOs as well throughout the course of the day, viewers. And be with us on Business Today Television. There's a lot more lined up for you throughout the course of the day. Many thanks for joining in for the morning edition of Market Today. From both Shail and me, but we'll be back in a while. I also wanted to discuss a little on the entire power space as well, especially the discom space. We have actually seen an outperformance come in as far as the power space is concerned thus far. Several components and various players over here have actually garnered a lot of attention over the last 6 months. But what goes forward from here? Just the way how we have looked at say a 20, 30, 35% loss in say the outperformers like railways and defense. Do you also see power story could be in for a long-term consolidation, or is this a great time to buy into some of these stocks?
So power I see in two components. One is the revamped distribution sector scheme by the government. So it all depends on the government push. Right now the push is so strong. So government has mandated 30 crore smart meters to be allocated till 2030, and there are only 3-4 companies who are bidding for those. So if you look at these, 7.8 crores have been tendered as of now, and still we have got 22 crores plus tenders to be, which will be coming in the next you can say 1-2 years. So we have the stocks like GMR Power and Infra, where their order book has swelled suddenly to the 8,000 crores, and they will be doing 7,000 crore odd revenues in FY26. So we have some pockets in these segments, and apart from this smart meter theme, we have transformer theme, which will play out for another 4-5 years. In US, there is a demand which is fully booked for the next 4-5 years, owing to the great demand from AI and great demand from data centers. And in India, if you talk about the capacity, the companies which haven't done expansion in the last 3-4 years